Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from Patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, to Nia, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Angela Reynolds, Grace Coate, Patty Wolin, and Ben and Noel Bruning. B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has a colorful waterfall in Rainbow Caverns. In the background you can see some stalactites. On the back it reads, Rainbow Caverns, the Rainbow Ridge mine train tunnels deep into the beautiful Rainbow Caverns, where surging waterfalls and multicolored stalactites and stalagmites are viewed in breathtaking splendor. It's postmarked August 11, 1969, with an Anaheim cancel and a 6-cent Franklin D. Roosevelt postage stamp, Scott number 1284. I assume they visited the park on Saturday, August 10, 1969, when park hours were from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 85 and a low of 63. It's addressed to the Mars of New Rochelle, New York. It reads, Dear relatives, boy are you missing a sight here at Disneyland. There's so much to see. I love it all. I'm coming home Thursday. Oh well. Gotta go see more. Love, Connie. I recently purchased some Disney News, official magazine for Disney Magic Kingdom Club families. One of the ones I purchased was for winter 1969-1970, and that'd be fun to look back at its contents from 55 years ago. The cover is filled with a line drawing of Sleeping Beauty Castle, characters, and parade floats from the Christmas-time Disneyland parade. This includes Santa on his sled, Cinderella in her pumpkin coach, the marching soldiers, Mickey with the Fantasy on Parade drum, and even Mary Poppins and Bert. It was illustrated by Joel Harvey. Inside the front cover, it mentions a subscription price of $1 for a year of 4 issues, as well as the table of contents. The first article focuses on the progress of Cal Arts after the groundbreaking in May of 1969. Construction continued, hoping to be ready to be open in late 1970. This was also an advertisement to spend $100 to get a replica of the gold medal presented to Mrs. Disney by President Nixon in recognition of Walt's distinguished public service and outstanding contributions to the United States and the world. A quick look on eBay found a few of these are still available in various conditions, from around $100 to $250. Unfortunately, due to weather delays and an earthquake, the original plans for the campus were scrapped, and the college's new campus was opened in Santa Clarita in 1971. The next article is all about capturing the holiday spirit, and it's filled with images from Fantasy on Parade, Disneyland's holiday parade. This also includes images of the candlelight processional, as well as some floats and parade features which have been retired over the years. In the article it mentions that Sleeping Beauty will lead the parade this year, accompanied by 6 knights on horseback, and her 3 good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, as well as characters from Winnie the Pooh, Donald and his nephews on a comical motorcycle, and characters from Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, and Mr. Toad driving wildly down the parade route in his car. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to EnfieldPost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and EnfieldPost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has Sleeping Beauty Castle at night. In the background, you can see fireworks exploding while guests point towards the Matterhorn. On the back, it reads, Fantasy in the Sky. Brilliant Fantasy in the Sky fireworks burst over Disneyland Castle every summer evening as part of the show in Disneyland After Dark. It's not postmarked, but was sent with a 6-cent U.S. flag over the White House postage stamp, Scott number 1338. Let's assume they visit the park on Saturday, December 20th, 1969, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to midnight. The weather was a high of 69 and a low of 58. It's addressed to Mr. August Krimmelhorn of Seattle, Washington. It reads, Hi, we were just having a great time. Wish you were here. We spent yesterday at Disneyland and had our very own VIP tour. Hostess was terrific. See you soon. Love, Sherry, Vic, and Vicky. Continuing in the magazine, there's an article dedicated to Disneyland's janitorial department. It boasts that the staff has over 350 employees during the summer months, and that 1 year they've worn out 250 brooms, 450 dustpans, and 2,500 mops. The article says that the motto is, if it's dirty, clean it, if it's clean, polish it, and if it's polished, keep it that way. Images for the article include cast members sweeping up Main Street, another polishing the opening day speech plaque in front of the flagpole, and the third dusting off the outside of the Upjohn Pharmacy. The next article's title is Disneyland's Nomadic Children and contains information about how Disneyland reunites lost children with their lost parents. This article also contains statistics, including that over 250 children pass through the Lost Children's Department every week during the summer months. Following this article is also information about Disneyland's Baby Station, which is still located at the end of Main Street. The last two articles are based on Disneyland's attractions. The first one is about the Disneyland climbers who scale the Matterhorn. At the end of the article, it mentions that it takes the climbers about 20 minutes to climb up the mountain, but only 4 seconds to rappel back down. The first image used for the article is from the top of the Matterhorn, looking down at the Fantasyland courtyard, and off in the distance you can see the sailing ship Columbia and the Mark Twain heading around the rivers of America. The last article is about the Haunted Mansion and little people. The article goes over how brave and scared some kids are when confronted with going into the Haunted Mansion. The final pages of the magazine has ticket information, as well as a calendar for December, January, and February of park hours, private parties, and parade schedules. This includes mentioning when the first Fantasy on Parade would begin for the season, which was on December 20th, 1969, the same day as the Candlelight Processional, which was narrated that year by Cary Grant. Finally, the back cover has an ad for 101 Dalmatians returning to theaters for the holiday. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has the Pottery Hotel in downtown Bakersfield. It's postmarked October 28, 2024, with the Santa Clarita, as in past elections, USPS is ready. If you choose to vote by mail, please mail early, cancel, and a 2-sailboat forever postcard postage stamp, Scott number 5747. It reads, 10/27/24. We stayed here, 4th floor above the entrance on the left. Bakersfield is wonderful. Monica. Hello, old chap. Greetings from the Field of Bakers, Mike. Thank you so much for the postcards, Monica and Mike. I was also recently in Bakersfield, and while at Tiki Co, I met the new chef for the Pottery Hotel. I spent 2 days in the Field of Bakers, working, and I did some exploring of antique stores. I didn't find too much to bring back, but I did have a pleasant time connecting with friends and enjoying a few sunny fall days. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sent from Disneyland, or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell, theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.